What is up, everybody? Got a concert review here for you guys today. I'm going to be talking about the Bay Strikes Back Tour. Saw it on the first leg and on the second leg just a couple of days ago. So, going to tell you what I thought about each band, the venues, everything about the concerts. But, of course, it is Death Angel, Exodus, and Testament. Three great classic Bay Area thrash bands. All started way back in the day. I was going to say all of them started in the 80s, but then somebody's going to be like, well, technically Exodus started in 1979. But yeah, Exodus formed in 79, Death Angel formed in 82, Testament formed in 83. First album from Exodus, of course, Bonded by Blood, 85. Testament was The Legacy in 87, and Death Angel, Ultraviolence in 1987 as well. So these guys have all been around quite a while. I'm a huge fan of each band. This was my third and fourth time seeing Death Angel when I saw them first and second leg, and it was actually my first and second time seeing Testament and Exodus. So glad to have seen them now, seen them both twice. But the first show I saw was in Atlanta back on April 26th. I went to that one by myself. I had to work that day, so I was a little tired. Got up at like 6:30, had to come home, shower, go straight to the venue. If anybody has been near or around Atlanta, you know the traffic is absolutely horrendous, so I barely got there in time. I was literally walking into the Masquerade, which is the venue where it was at, as Death Angel was starting their set. So glad I got there in time, but usually I like to be early so I can try to get up close. I kind of squeezed my way up kind of midway into the crowd. Yeah, they played 8 songs, which they play 8 full songs, 9 if you want to count the Ultraviolence, which is the little opening they use, the instrumental song, which is great. Very cool to see that. Everybody in Death Angel, I will say, is great. Like, these guys are crazy good musicians. Their live performance is off the charts, top tier. I'll say right now, they are my absolute favorite band to see live at this point. I'd say they're the best live band in thrash. Rob Cavestany on guitar is an absolute freaking god. His tone and his playing is so on point. It is ridiculous. The first time I was on his side, which he's kind of on the left side of the stage, I was over there, but I was kind of far back. The second time, I'll get more into it I was literally against the rail right in front of him, which was amazing. But he's great. Ted Aguilar, the other guitar player in the band right now, is really cool too. He's been with them since 2001. Mark Osageda on vocals still sounds as good as ever. He's hitting the screams. They all have great stage presence, great energy, great interaction with the crowd. Will Carroll on the drums, and Damien Sisson, don't know how to pronounce his last name exactly, but both of them on drums and bass have been in the band since 2009, so had the same lineup for a while now, and they have great chemistry. Rob especially, I think he is one of the absolute best and most underrated players in all of thrash and really for metal, all of metal in general for that matter. But I'll run through the set. They played 8 songs, as I said. Evil Priest was what they transitioned to after the little opening of the Ultraviolence. Voracious Soul, Seemingly Endless Time, Claws In So Deep, The Dream Calls for Blood, which I actually have on cassette tape. I gotta show this. This is an absolutely beautiful cover. Love the wolves, love this blue. The freaking tape looks amazing, just great color. Man, this album's fantastic. That's from 2013, but that title track is amazing, super heavy. The Moth, Humanicide, and Thrown to the Wolves. Amazing set list. Literally, each time I saw them, 5 or 6 of the songs they played are in my top 10. I did a top 10 Death Angel songs list not too long ago, so check that out if you haven't seen it. But 10 out of 10, amazing. I liked it better the second time, which I'll talk more about in a minute, but they were great. And then we got Exodus coming on, so Exodus plays 11 songs, all their stuff, all the songs were the same. They didn't change any of their set, which, I like when a band, if they're going to do a second leg like this, they'll rotate at least like 2 songs or so, which is what Death Angel did. Testament did it as well, but let me run through their set. We got 11 songs. The beatings will continue until morale improves. A Lesson in Violence, Blood In, Blood Out, The Years of Death and Dying, Death Amphetamine, which I'm glad they got a song from Shovelheaded Kill Machine, which is my favorite Exodus album, surprisingly. I think it's great. Love the Rob Dukes era. Really, I like all Exodus. Blacklist, Piranha, Prescribing Horror, Bonded by Blood, Toxic Waltz, and Strike of the Beast. So Exodus, they got a cool lineup. Of course, Tom Hunting on the drums is great. He went through his whole cancer thing and he's still playing. I think that's very admirable for him to carry on. So props to him. He's still great back there on the kit. Steve Souza on vocals, who's been in and out of the band several times. I think he's a cool vocalist. He's got a very distinct voice. Not the greatest voice ever, but very raspy, raw. You know it's him right away. Jack Gibson on the bass. He's been with them for, over 20 years now. He's cool. And the guitar duo of Lee Altus and Gary Holt, I think, is fantastic. Lee, of course, has the other band, Heathen, who is a great technical thrash band, which I'm a big fan of as well. And Gary is the only member in the band right now that's been on every single album. So, he's a beast. Everybody loves him. And I'll get to this more in a minute. But I went to the second show up in Nashville with my mom, which I think was a really cool experience because that was her first ever thrash show. I've seen like at least 30 thrash bands or somewhere around there. She has seen a couple of metal shows back in the 80s and whatnot, but no thrash shows. Exodus is a band that isn't quite as tight as Death Angel. They're a little bit sloppier, a little more chaotic, but I think that, that works with thrash, so nothing against them. Just I think Death Angel was a bit tighter and had a better performance. But Death Angel, I will say, best live band in thrash metal, especially now. They're the best. Cool set from them. And then Testament came on after them, of course. And this is the difference as well. They had Dave Lombardo. It was the first tour, or no, of course he was in the band back in the late 90s with The Gathering. But, he's back in the band now. I must be out of the loop because he wasn't with them when I saw him in Nashville. I don't know why, but he was literally coming back the next show. So Chuck Billy's like, hey, yeah, sorry, y'all don't get Dave, but I got the guy's name right here. Chris Dovis was filling in, and he freaking destroyed, like, at the Nashville show, the second leg I saw. But a little more about the first leg show. Testament, as I said, they did change their set a little bit, which I admire. I think that's good to do. But the first time through, I'll run through the set. It was 14 tracks. Children of the Next Level, The Pale King, Practice What You Preach, The New Order, World War III, Eyes of Wrath, DNR, Legions of the Dead, Electric Crown, Souls of Black, Night of the Witch, Over the Wall, Into the Pit, and Disciples of the Watch. They're really tight as well. Great performers. The amount of talent on the stage for Testament is ridiculous. I think Gene Hoglan was a little bit better of a fit for Testament, in my opinion. So nothing against Dave Lombardo. He was still great. I just like Gene and the band slightly better. I did see him with Dark Angel, though, back at Hell's Heroes, and he freaking was amazing. Never got to see him with Testament, as this was my first time ever seeing Testament. But yeah, Dave was cool. Chuck Billy on vocals. He's 60 years old at this point, but his voice is still super strong, super powerful, very good live. Eric Peterson and Alex Skolnick on guitar is a fantastic duo. Alex, amazing technical player. Eric, a lot of great riffs. He does some soloing as well. He does a little bit more soloing than I originally thought, but he's a pretty good soloer too, but really good riff machine. Eric is as well. And Steve DiGiorgio on bass, who is a freaking monster, legend, great bass player. But so second time through, that was at the Masquerade first time. It's okay. It's an okay venue, but taking the trip up to Nashville, I think the second time I saw him was a lot more fun. I went with my mom instead of going by myself, and she actually really enjoyed the show. We were on the front rail for Death Angel, and I got to show this shirt, dude. Y'all probably are already seeing it, but this design is freaking sick. Amazing. I've also got a Humanicide shirt I got back in 2019 when I saw him, and I love that design as well. Love the Dream Calls for Blood cover art too. Love the wolves. But so Death Angel, we originally weren't planning on getting to the front for this concert. I'm like, yeah, we can chill in the back because she's a little older, in her 50s, she's not trying to get run over in the mosh pit or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, we can chill in the back, that's cool. But we get there and the venue isn't huge, and we walk in and there's nobody against the front rail, and it's on the left side of the stage too, which is where Rob Cavastani stands on the stage. I'm like, we gotta go up here right now, to the front rail, and we got it. So we're right there for Death Angel. And I'll also say this venue is super cool. It's at a place called Brooklyn Bowl. Nashville, and it's super unique and different than any place I've ever been. Like, it's literally a bowling alley uh, attached to the venue. I've never seen that. You could be bowling as you're watching the show. Maybe they don't do the bowling at the exact time as the show because I don't actually recall anyone bowling while bands were playing, but there were people starting to file in there and you could see the stage from the bowling area. There was a restaurant attached to it. There was literally a minor league baseball stadium was also attached to this place. So between bands, you could go up onto the balcony and you could watch the game. I'm a big baseball fan, so that was pretty cool. It was the AAA team, the Nashville Sounds, which is for the Milwaukee Brewers and their organization. So you got AAA baseball, concert venue, bowling, and a restaurant, and it's all in one place. So that's really cool, unique, sweet venue. But as I said, Death Angel switched two of their songs. Instead of playing the first time, I don't know if I read through this or not, but the Ultraviolence, Evil Priest, Voracious Soul, Seemingly Endless Time, Claws In So Deep, Dream Calls for Blood, The Moth, Humanicide, and Thrown to the Wolves. They played all of those songs except for Evil Priest and Claws In So Deep. They took those out and added Mistress of Pain, which was amazing to see. I saw that one back in 2019, and this was the second time I've seen that song live, which is fantastic to see. Everybody goes crazy for it. And they also added Caster of Shame, which is another one from Dream Calls for Blood, which is one of my favorite albums by them. So happy to have two songs in the set from that album. Super heavy. Rob's freaking guitar tone is next level amazing. You know, whole band was on fire. Just their energy, their interaction with the crowd, the tightness of their performance, the freaking chemistry all of those guys have together. Next level. Best thrash live band. Death Angel. So 10 out of 10 from them. Exodus, as I said, you know, they play the exact same set. Literally everything was pretty much the exact same from, I don't know if he was wearing the Kill the Kardashian shirt the first time, Gary Holt, but I told that to my mom because she is a fan of the show. She watches the Kardashian show, whatever that shit is, but I'm like, yeah, this guy, he's got a shirt that says Kill the Kardashians, and she got a kick out of it. She thought it was funny. She was like, oh my God, I would love to get a picture with him. So, I mean, we didn't pay for the VIP meet and greet or anything, which is a thing, like, I don't know what the dynamic is. Like, bands have people pay for the VIP meet and greet, which is fine and cool and all, but does that mean, like, they would be against, like, afterwards, people hanging out to get a free picture with them? I saw some people, I've seen pictures posted, like, afterwards near the bus, like, I doubt anybody's gonna say no, but they might be like, you know, you could have paid for this, like all the other people. So we didn't, like, we walked by and we weren't waiting, but we walked by to go to a restaurant across the street after the show. If, like, you know, Gary Holt had been standing there, we would have said something to him and asked for a picture. I'm sure he would have said yes. I've heard he's a really cool guy. But yeah, she liked Death Angel the best as well. She thought they were really good. She liked Rob Cavastani's playing and thought he was, you know, interacting with the crowd really well. She thought Mark Asagata's voice was really good. She was like, man, it must be so boring to be the bass player and whatever she was saying, but you know, it would be more fun to be the guitar player as well, I think. But yeah, so Exodus, good show. They did the Wall of Death, of course, for the last song, Strike of the Beast. Steve stopped it and was like, y'all spread out, and they started back in the song. He's like, wait for it to break down, wait for it to hit, and then everybody sprinted into each other, and that's always funny to see. Interesting, you know, it's cool, it's funny, it's whatever. But yeah, they put on a good show, as I said, not as good as Death Angel though. And the second time around for Testament, looking at these, they switched up several songs, and actually the very first time I saw them, you know, back in April, I had to leave after the 10th, like 9th or 10th song after they played Electric Crown. I didn't have to, but I had work I had to get up at like 6:30 the next day, and I live like an hour from the venue, so I cut out a few minutes early to beat traffic and all that, and to get home earlier. So the second time I made it through all the songs. They switched in a couple new ones. I'm trying to look here. Like, they played Rise Up the second time, which they did not play the first time. They played First Strike is Deadly the second time, which they didn't play the first time. Alone in the Dark they added as well, but there was maybe another one too. Good set, you know. Testament, all their albums for the most part are really cool, so whatever they play is gonna be cool to see. But as I said, Chris Dovis, for whatever reason, Dave Lombardo wasn't with them, and he was coming back, as I said, like the next day. But this Chris Dovis guy, he's only 24 years old, absolutely destroyed. Like, he played as good as you pretty much could possibly play. So definitely check his stuff out, whatever other stuff he's got going on, because he is an incredible drummer. He's got some really cool videos on his Instagram too, I was looking at, from the shows, and he's playing everything freaking fantastic. So Testament, another one of the best live bands in thrash. They got a ton of talent in the band, but I think Death Angel, just there's something different about them with their energy. You know, everybody just clicking on all cylinders is just crazy and amazing to see. But overall, this is definitely the tour of the year, I'd say. I'm glad to have seen it twice. I would go again if I could. They have a show in Asheville coming up here in a couple of days, but it's like on Thursday and I got work, so I can't go, which that's like 3-4 hours from me. If I was off, I'd go. That's how good it is. I'd see it 3 times. But yeah, great show all around. I'm going to give it probably a 9.75 out of 10. It would be a 10 out of 10, but Exodus didn't change their set list at all, so I got to deduct a little tiny bit. But all the bands, really cool to see. Death Angel, the best live band in thrash, and that's pretty much all I got to say about it. Good stuff. They're running the tour for almost another month. It goes through October 15th, so if it comes through your area, absolutely go to see it. And one last thing, I caught a pic from the man himself, Rob Cavastani, which I've gotten pics from him before, but always fun and cool to get more merch. And he tossed it up in the air and people were trying to grab it, snagged it right out of the air. Everybody's like, where'd it go? I was like, right here. It was pretty cool. But yeah, great stuff. I've seen Death Angel 4 times. I'll see all these bands again anytime they come, but definitely looking forward to the next time I get to see Death Angel, because they are amazing. But yeah, let me know what you thought of all the bands. Who'd you like the best? When are you going to see them? Have you seen them? All that stuff in the comments. And until next time, thank y'all for watching.